Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to bring you a very important update on Bitcoin. With Bitcoin in the market as a whole having corrected quite a bit, I'm sure there's a lot of people worried, fearful, and panic selling. So in this video, we're going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what we see happening in both short term and long term, and explain where we think Bitcoin in the market as a whole could be finding support. We have Mess in here with us to help break down the market. What is up, man?
How's it going, man? I hope everyone's doing good. Definitely, there's a lot of panic in the market, and I made fun of it a bit on a previous video here, man. I didn't really get a lot of laughs. I got a lot of hate on the comments. So I guess this time we're gonna be a bit more critical, try to really explain what we're thinking of. And yeah, I think we're definitely reaching an area right now. Just the fact that we actually broke below the 45,000, because that was what everyone's been looking at specifically. And right now, after that, it's a bit of a free fall zone, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah,
I know you're talking a lot about the 50 moving average here.
yeah, and that's a good point. There's like no price action. There's barely any volume where we're at right now, so it's kind of a nomad zone. And as well, yeah, just to kind of mention, I do think the floor for Bitcoin is somewhere at around $42,000 because of the 50 simple moving average on the daily. I think this is the most important support level on the daily. And just to begin to understand why this is the most important support level, I think, for Bitcoin, let's zoom out to the previous cycle. And if we see what was, I look at the different time frames, different simple moving averages and different exponential moving averages, and I tried to find which one I think most closely called the top in the well, really the bottom of the cycle in the bear cycle, and I think it's the 50 simple moving average on the daily. We can see here, and here it was constantly acting as support. As soon as we broke down, we fell back up to retest it, got rejected, and that was the end. That was the bear cycle. So the 50 simple moving average on the daily is pretty obviously important
And
here.
I guess just to clarify here, it's the blue one you got, right?
Yeah,
It's the
the
blue
blue
one
one
where
right
yeah,
here. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like folks, like even we can see here how like it's very, very like price reactive here. Like as soon as we dumped, we went back up to retest it, got rejected, and then we had a massive correction back in March. And like even here, as soon as we got back above the 50 simple moving average, we took off. As soon as we got above the 50 simple moving average on the daily, we took off. And if we zoom back
yeah.
out to the previous correction we had, where did we find support? The
You
50
guessed it.
simple moving average on the daily. Exactly on it. Isn't that crazy?
It is, and that's the thing, because you want to try to look at historical like data and see where, okay, so this is where we're thinking the next stop is going to be at, and it looks like that the 50 moving average from before also determined the next movement, whether it's up or down for Bitcoin. Right now, after we had the massive bump from the 17,000 in like early mid December, went all the way up to the 42,000 somewhere, and beginning of January, first week of January. And once we retraced back to the 50 moving average on the end of January, right? And then we went back up. So now this is what we're looking at, right? We've been downtrending here for the past I would say 10 days, and we're reaching to a zone where we, for the, even if we look at lower time frames, maybe the 4 hour would show you it, but we did try for a couple of times to find support at 45,000, and not until I would say yesterday or beginning of yesterday is where we actually broke that 45,000
Yeah.
support, and we're reaching to the zone right now where the next stop looks like it's going to be the 50 moving average. So it's pretty telling the way things are going.
Yeah, and another thing as well, we have a cluster of strong support right below 42,000. We have the 200 EMA on the 6 hour, which coincides perfectly with this peak over here right at $42,000. So we have a bunch of very strong support right below us from 42,000 to $41,000. A bunch of strong support as well. Like once we get further into like the 40s, a lot of volume starts to build up in these regions. So if those regions can't hold, I think kind of the next major stop for Bitcoin, I'd say it's like 38,800 to 37,200. I'm just basing
Right.
that off, we're getting a spike in volume here, and we can see these ranges have historically been kind of price reactive for
Right.
Bitcoin.
Right.
So yeah,
And right now, just to add to that, we look like right now it's looking like we are attempting, right? We are attempting to peak above the 44,000 again, right? That this past hour we broke below the I would say here the 43, the 44,000, and then went all the way back down to the 43,000 fully, right? We found the support at the 43,000. Now we're kind of uptrending back again, and we might, right? So this also might just not happen, right? We're just looking at just data in general and seeing where the next stop could be if we are to downtrend. And if we're trying to find the support, where's it going to be at? So right now, looks like we're attempting again to go above the 44,000. We're at the 44, almost 44,300. And we're going to see right now, right? Is it going to be a bit of more selling? Are we going to see long wicks to the upside, indicating that, there's just a bit of a leg up until we get to the 42,000, 41,000 range? But looks like, buyers are coming in. There's some sort of accumulation happening, and that could be maybe just an early sign of until we reach the 42,000. There's a bunch of, I guess, traders or whatever the case might be that are dollar cost averaging to the bottom, right? So.
Yeah, look, yeah, and also I think it'll be helpful if we look at our indicators. But I just want to add on top of that point, I don't think anything has fundamentally changed to make this market any less bullish. The same fundamentals that brought us to $58,000 are the same fundamentals that leads Bitcoin to be at $44,000 right now. Nothing has fundamentally changed in this market. These kind of corrections are to be expected in a bull run. So that's why, personally speaking, when people panic and they're fearful, I mean, while that's sad and it's obviously you don't want to see people lose money, I kind of find it funny because I understand that this downtrend, in my opinion, is highly, highly likely to just be a temporary thing. And the next few weeks and months, we're very likely to have formed some kind of pattern similar to this, where we had a downtrend, had a correction, had a consolidation period, and then shot up and blew past all-time highs. So I do think over the long term, something like that has a good chance of happening. But why don't we look at our indicators right now? To try and get a sense of what's going on. Let's look at the daily. So, I mean, daily looks bearish to me, man. I think the only thing that looks slightly bullish on the daily is the stochastic in the oversold region. Seems to want to have a bullish crossover.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree right now. I think even in terms of volume, right? Because so if we're looking at the daily right now and we look at the volume itself, right? Not just the volume profile. If we're looking at the volume itself, we did peak, and now we're seeing that the volume increases, but more to the selling side, right? And soon enough here, I think, because it's still kind of equally from even yesterday and the day before, we're almost at the same volume of trading that's happening. Obviously more dominance towards the sellers, but soon enough here we're going to start seeing the volume actually go down and relatively speaking go to I would say maybe 38.7 thousand Bitcoins traded during the day, and that's going to show us what we basically need to see to find this criteria of support, right? We're downtrending. We want to see volume start to also go down to indicate that there's less and less interest in the current trade, right? So we're seeing less and less interest in the current, the current trend, which is downwards. And then later on, that just indicates that some sort of reversal is coming up. So yes, we are aiming towards finding support soon here, which is honestly like the 42,000, 41,000 are only 5% away, which is literally nothing, right, for Bitcoin right now. So once we get there, that's what we need to assess. We need to assess if there's actually more interest in buying, less interest in selling, and we're looking at our indicators, which right now tell us that we could have a bit of a continued downtrend still. We still need a bit of breathing room till we get actual support.
Yeah, look, and if I can mention one thing as well, we've been getting higher highs in price action paired with lower highs in RSI, which is bearish divergence. That's extremely bearish. I think something we can do to try to understand if and when we can really see bullish divergence on the RSI is, I think if we can do something like this on the daily, where as soon as we break out bullishly from that red resistance line or that green resistance line here on the daily, I think that's when Bitcoin really sees bullish divergence in price action. Let's sort through the different time frames here, man, to try to get a sense of further what's going on. So 12-hour, we're starting to see a bit more strength. The histogram starting to take up. Weighted MACD on the way up, although it doesn't want to go up. That's a bearish crossover. Stochastic RSI oversold. Doesn't really want to go up. And then our side not telling me a whole lot. So let's take a look at the 6.
I think honestly, if we even maybe go down to the eventually, or maybe somewhere close to the 2-hour, we'll see some significant things actually in terms of us piercing through some of those lines there. On the actual chart. So right now, exactly somewhere there. We did actually break below here. Just looking in general on my 2-hour. Just 1 second, sorry. Yeah, the fact that we actually broke below the 44,122 and now we're actually attempting to retest it, this is pretty significant for me at the moment, right? This is where we found that support at the 44, 44, yeah, 44,200 is where we're aiming at to actually maintain above.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And look, we're starting to see some strength as well on like the lower hourlies. Like, let's see if we can go to the one, probably get a better example. So we're getting higher lows in the RSI, stochastic RSI on the way up. Weighted MACD seems to want to have a bullish crossover, and MACD seems to want to have a bullish crossover. So this little impulse up may have some more gas in its tank. Although again, the macro trend does look bearish, and I do think there's a good chance that over the next few days or so here, we probably fall back down and retest these previous levels from 42 to 41. And let's say we do, I think there's a good chance that that's the floor for Bitcoin. And also, I want to mention another thing, which is the Bitcoin cycles. I keep mentioning this as one factor as to why I think we're nowhere near the end of this bull market. So historically speaking, crypto has been moving in cycles, and it's all been driven by Bitcoin and the Bitcoin halvings. It's the Bitcoin halvings that leads to these boom and bust cycles, because every 4-ish years, the amount of Bitcoin that's produced gets cut in half. And so miners have to sell Bitcoin at increased prices to just remain profitable. So it's almost a guarantee that over the long term, Bitcoin almost has to increase in value, because if not, miners won't be profitable, and miners won't mine
Right.
if they're not profitable. So according to this chart here, according to the last halving we've had, Bitcoin isn't likely to reach its top until late September 2021. So we have the better part of a year before it's likely that Bitcoin reaches some kind of cycle top. And so the fact that we're just having like a 20-ish% correction now, I mean, I am not worried whatsoever. We're still maintaining above critical support levels like the 50 simple moving average on the daily. Until we start to close daily candles below the 50 simple moving average on the daily, I'm going to maintain that we're in a bull market. As soon as we start to get a daily candles close below the 50 simple moving average on the daily, that's when I would be worried that we've reached some kind of local or cycle top, in my
Right.
opinion. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, man. So like,
I agree.
I think those are some of the main takeaways for myself. I don't know if you think there's anything else worth adding here.
No, I think this pretty much the fact that you got these massive pools that are I wouldn't even say dumping, to be honest. It's not just
It's
dump. It's just
correction.
more
Yeah.
like they just have a bunch of Bitcoin that they want to make money out of, and that's simply it, right? And at one point they're not going to sell a Bitcoin or two. You're going to have thousands of Bitcoins being sold on the market, and for whoever wants to buy it, there you go. So this trend that we had right now is a nice healthy correction. And yeah, not until we see some major break below those the 42,000 the 41,000 or peak through the 40,000 is when we are like, okay, maybe we're looking at a different thing right now. But it's too early to assume that. It's way too early to assume that. This is the next step that we have to look and reassess at the at that support level, and which that's what we're aiming towards, right? And then after that we can panic, right? So
Yeah, and look, what I'll leave you guys with this final thought. We're not financial advisors. This video is not financial advice. We're just sharing our opinions. But I have been buying this dip. That's just me. I'm very confident that we're in the beginning stages of a bull run that has many, many more months ahead of it. And instead of selling, I've been buying. The only thing I'm going to be doing to my long-term bags when things fall is adding to them when things fall. But that's just me. Look, another thing as well. Folks, if anything interesting further happens, we'll definitely be talking about it here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Check out our Discord group. Link for that will be down in the description. Tonight, we'll be having a coin call with our Discord members. Just have a voice chat, answer some questions, talk about our market. So, folks, join our Discord. Link for that will be down in the description below. That's it for me, man. You got any final words?
you heard the guy. Thank you for watching.
Take care.